Welcome to Therapy Unlocked, where we discuss all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. I'm Emily Huffman, and I'm here with Katrina.
Hello, Katrina Mondragon, licensed professional counselor. All right, so like I said, I am a professional, but not your professional, so nothing we're going to talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, and because I would like to be famous. So please like, subscribe, follow, engage, hate on us, join the conversation, find us on YouTube, find us on Instagram, find us anywhere where you listen to podcasts, because I love a creeper and I love a hater and I love a lover. So if you like the podcast, if you dislike the podcast, I'd like to hear from you.
So this is where my living under a rock is going to come in. Can you name like a movie or something that he's in? Because that name doesn't ring a bell.
Meet the Parents.
Never saw it.
You remember that movie? You didn't see Meet the Parents or Meet the Fockers with the little kid that signs poop, or the cat, or Robert. Oh my gosh, you have something to do.
So I lived under a rock for 6 years and went to this thing called college and got a couple different licensures, but I still didn't engage in the, what is it called? Pop culture.
Meet the Parents is one, I tell you, that I can't really watch. This came out in 2000, Bestie. This came out 7 years before we graduated high school. But
I definitely wasn't watching TV.
It is a classic comedy. A classic comedy. It has Ben Stiller
Meet the Fockers was 2004. I just Googled it.
Yep, and then they made a couple of sequels. There's Meet the Fockers. There's Little Fockers.
Oh, that's his face.
Right, and the first one is Meet the Parents, and the basic premise of this film is watch him embarrass himself.
If you had said Dodgeball, or Zoolander, or I don't know what else he's in.
This is the cringiest movie of all time, in my opinion. Meet the Fockers is the cringiest movie of all time, because the full comedic premise of the film is watch this man embarrass himself, and he does. Oh, he does. He does, and he does it over and over again. But me being a bit of an empathetic person, a bit of an empath, it's painful. It's painful for me to watch. It goes further than embracing the cringe and deep into the, oh no. Like, I didn't enjoy it. As a kid, I was like, how come I have such a hard time sitting with this movie? And then I realized as I got older, it's because I could not help but identify as Ben Stiller in the film. I could never identify as anybody being an onlooker. I could only think of myself as the one embarrassing themselves to the utmost and most extreme, you know? But it's funny.
I'll have to watch that. So as a 20-year-old movie, it holds up?
It holds up. It does. It holds up in such a way, though, that let me know as you're watching it, if you are like me, if you are like Mike, if you can't help but identify as you're watching it with, oh no, not me, or if you're watching it going, ha ha, look at him, because I was not a ha ha, I watched that movie like this.
Oh,
okay, it's almost a horror film, like a comedic horror film, okay. Yeah, no, it's a good one though. I recommend it. It works with this. It does, because finding humor and healing, the chaos that comes with growth, right? So I said, you have dark humor, and I was trying to use dark humor, and it was supposed to be a joke, not a repressed memory that we should reevaluate from my childhood. Unfortunately, as we said at the beginning of this chat, that's what we're there for. Hate to hear it. Thought we were there for my therapist to be my best friend, develop a parasocial relationship with me, and we would just hang out all the time. But no, we're there for reevaluation of our own selves. But that said, finding humor in that healing, finding the chaos coming with the growth, and how, like you said, sometimes that is funny. Sometimes you can't help it. It's going to be funny. It's a series of unfortunate events, as Lemony Snicket would say. Do you ever find yourself revealing your expression, revealing your card?
Oh, I have the most expressive face. A client can say, based on your face, that was a cognitive distortion. And I'm like, yep, that's my face.
That's my face. It says right here, cognitive distortion. That's a self-aware client right there, is what that is. That's a good job. That's a good job, licensed professional counselor, licensed mental health counselor, dual licensed. Anybody looking for a counselor, check out Katrina. Katrina in Oklahoma, and now available in Massachusetts. Yeah, we love it. We love to hear it. Let me tell you, finding that humor, finding that chaos, a lot of that is finding that memory. And I believe you have a memoir for us today. Yeah.
Oh, our book recommendation. Yes. If you'd like to
I
pick
love a book recommendation.
I think it goes up to about 197. So pick a page between 1 and 200. And the
Let me see
author of
here.
this, Brandon Wolf. I got to see him speak when I was in Florida not too long ago.
What did he speak about?
Well, he spoke about what happened June 12th, 2016, which, if you remember, was a horrible, awful, no good thing in Orlando, Florida. He was there when that club got shot up, and he was a survivor, and that turned him into a advocate. And so this is his memoir. Did you think of a page?
I got caught up in what you were saying, but let's do 72.
72. Okay.
On the fly.
He says, "Man up," fathers will say at the first sign of tears after scuffed knees, foisting their own decades-long emotional repression onto the next generation. Magazine covers and Instagram feeds silently reinforce that if we aren't blonde with blue eyes and six-packs, we should be grateful for the opportunity to look on in amazement. A shame that we're too lazy to look the same. It's a toxic soup that leads to unhealthy expectations for interpersonal relationships with other men and an inability to appreciate the various forms they take. In short, we are so desperate to be seen and wanted by men that their desire becomes the only aspect of a relationship we can imagine. It's a running joke inside our community, as a gay man he's speaking, that gay men can't officially call themselves friends until they've slept together, as if no friendship can exist outside of the murky confines of sexuality as defined by everyone else. I hate tropes like that because they don't leave space for the myriad of lived experiences that make up our community. But if I'm being honest, I also really hate how close to home they hit. And so that was his little bit of a memoir from his life. I imagine that was, what chapter was that in? That was chapter 4 under Drew. So I don't know who Drew is, but he breaks it up into chapters of his life. And it does end with the safe space. So chapter 10, he talks about the safe space being community. And that community basically is what saved his life when he wanted to end it all. Even after the shooting, he was still there with a bottle of whiskey thinking like sometimes it would be better to not wake up. And he went ahead and thought that and rethought that, because as long as he's willing to share that with somebody else, he's not going to act on it. And you see, he wrote a book, he's out there speaking with people, and community, he says, saved his life. So
you
get
said
out there.
Something very important there. You said something very important there, and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go back. I'm going to touch on it again, because if you are willing to share that with someone else, you are far less likely to act on it. So community being a lifesaver is so deeply profound and true. If you can share your feelings with someone else, even in a community fashion and not a direct one-to-one fashion or a peer-to-peer fashion, a lot of the time that can be the move that is life-saving for you. And I think that that's something so important that you said there, and that he said there in his message to everyone about what happened surrounding that shooting. That was a terrible event. That was absolutely a terrible event. Yeah. This really does, it does tie in amazing how your selection did tie in again to this conversation, though, with the idea that there's a lot to unpack there in what he said. There's a lot to unpack in that anecdote and in that story, in that joke that they cannot be friends until they have slept together. That's some dark humor, but there's a lot.
It's a joke, but there's a lot within the gay community that there are stereotypes there. There are reasons that some gay people don't have any gay friends.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, as a woman who has a lot of male interests, I will say it that way, I share a lot of interests with more men than women in a lot of different spheres. I find myself attempting to relate to men on a friendship level who naturally can only view me through a male gaze. I
Ah.
imagine that's extremely challenging also within the gay community, if not exactly the same. I can clock when a man is only viewing me through a male gaze, putting me in a relationship zone versus, allowing me to be in their friend zone. And I would imagine
It
as a gay
feels
man, that is
different,
a
yes.
deeply difficult challenge.
I don't know, like, this is a woman to woman now. I don't know if
Mhm.
men can understand that it feels different when we are in the friend zone. We like it there.
Right. Why is the friend zone so bad? I will die on the hill that there is no friend zone. There is only a relationship zone, and men who don't understand women are worthy of friendship. Like,
Mm.
you're angry that a woman gave you the gift of her company time and friendship. Do you like her or not? If you want to be in a relationship with her and you like her, then wouldn't you want to be her friend, you weirdo? I'm pretty gay. It's Pride Month. I'm pretty dang gay. And I can't think of a single hot lady who I would not want to be friends with. Yo, not a one. Not my
But you're
biggest
talking
girl
like
crushes in the world.
guys who get mad for like investing their time as they see it, investing their time in their friendship only to not get paid out with sex.
I'm sure as my sister, you know what I'm about to say. They're putting their friendship coins into the slut machine and they're hoping that favors fall out, but it's not working out for them. And then they get mad about it. They don't like to lose. Okay. Unfortunately, the slut machine does not take friendship coins. Okay. It takes service, dedication, and love. You can't get there with your friendship coins. You would have better luck just having a friendship or hot take, leave her alone because she doesn't deserve that. You know, I don't know about you, but I can't tell you how many times I thought a guy was my friend, and then they say, "Can I tell you something?" And that sound goes in your head where you go, "Wah wah," like, no, don't tell me.
This will be the end.
This is the end. There will be no more memes between us, bro. It's over. I thought I had a friend, but I just have another hoe. That's what it is. These men, they have no morals. They're loose. They're men of loose morals.
And on that
There's the
note,
rage bait. There's the rage bait for this week's episode of the pod. Men with loose morals inserting friendship coins in the slut machine and hoping that favors fall out. That clip right there, you guys better listen to the whole pod. Whole pod, okay? Figure out where we were coming from with that.
well, was
Oh
there anything
man.
else?
I think we've run a gambit in this one. I don't know if we stayed on my original talking point, but man, did I have a good time. I love being on Therapy Unlocked here, trying to unlock the mind one conversation at a time with my sister. If you don't know us, I am Emily. You may know me as Final Girl M. This is Katrina. She's a licensed professional counselor, and the two of us sit here, unqualified opinion, qualified opinion, and we attempt to make sense of therapy, mental health, and the brain in general. Okay. We call it Therapy Unlocked. I don't know. That's who puts this on. Now, I hope you'll come back and join us again. We are, as I said, Therapy Unlocked. We're available Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Instagram. Come
All the
and see us.
places.
And I think that's all.
All right, later.